quality football. All that being said, hey, man, I so love this man, and he's so busy, and he finds time for us always. And I can't thank him enough. And let's bring him up now. He is Phil Simms, and I want to get out of him right away. How you doing, Phil?
Daniel, boy, excuse me, all choked up. But Daniel, doing well. I heard a little bit of your last few minutes here. Pretty interesting. Yes, Michael Irvin, no matter how the team is doing, he's a wide receiver, and he was going to complain. 10 catches is not enough. I need 12.
Yeah, but Phil, for you, do you think that if you had a guy like that on your offense, no disrespect to your wideouts, Phil, outside of Bavaro, you never had a primary target. You were able to spread it around. There wasn't anybody bitching at you on getting footballs to you, but yet you guys were so dominant on how you play. I mean, let's not forget Washington, San Francisco, Chicago. These are all great defenses where you've got to be on your A game every single time you play against those teams. You never had a primary target. Do you really think that helped you in spreading the ball around? And why, again, you see what they did in Kansas City, Phil. They got rid of Tyreek Hill. Last year he was voted the #1 player in the NFL, and Mahomes got better because he was spreading it around.
Yeah, well, listen, many ways. First off, people say this and how they characterize us and all that. All I know is in years, I think 1984, 5, and 6, only one person in the NFL threw for more yards than me, and that was Dan Marino. And, maybe it was 84 and 85, whatever the years, I forgot. Somebody said it to me recently. I said, oh, wow, that's interesting. Okay, great. But what we had was a very simple, extremely aggressive, throw it down the field team. And, maybe I didn't have a Michael Irvin on the outside, but I had plenty good players out there. But I had a trio myself, Mark Bavaro, Zeke Mowat, and Howard Cross during my career with the Giants. And we were, we threw the ball down the field to our tight ends. And, Dan, you do a lot of this, you know a lot of football, but we took seam passes, back shoulder throws. We took it so far ahead of everybody else. It was literally our #1 play.
Huh.
And as Parcells would always say, here's a route. And this happened in 1984 in preseason. We're playing Pittsburgh. No, would it have been 84? Whatever. Mark Bavaro's rookie year. And 84, 85, somewhere in there. And he runs a corner route. And he's covered. And I don't throw it. And Bill Parcells is kind of watching the film. We're just talking a lot. And he goes, well, Sims, why didn't you throw it to Bavaro here? And, I got a little right away. I go, okay. I said, because he's covered. And he goes, but you don't understand. When he's covered, he's open. And, it's not trying to be funny, or anything like that. But what he said, when he said it, I literally said this. I go, I got you. I know. Okay, I got it. You're right. Because I knew what he was talking about. Hey, the guy's covering him. Throw it to his back shoulder. Throw it high. Throw it low. Throw it wherever the defender's not looking. Throw it right over the top of his helmet. And Bavaro, who had hands like, a catcher's mitt, could catch anything. And so could Zeke Mowat. And they were very good runners with the football, route runners. And then, I had Big Howard Cross, one of the biggest tight ends in the history of the NFL. He literally had shovels for hands. I mean, man. So that was our big throwing back shoulder fades.
Huh. I remember those.
Yeah, or line drive passes to the outside guys over the top head of the tight coverage. And, as years go by, I see a little bit of here and there games of us on TV, and I go, oh my gosh, it was incredible how many times we would do these things every single game.
By design, right, Phil? By design.
Always by design. We went down to scrimmage the Atlanta Falcons for a week during preseason in 1986. And that's when we really had the back shoulder thing working. And Fred Bruni, you remember him, the D coordinator?
Yep.
So we're throwing passes or doing offense from the 10-yard in, the 20-yard in against their defense. I literally threw 20 passes. I threw about 19 touchdowns. and everyone was a back shoulder because they had never really seen it. And I did it to everybody, to the running backs, to the tight ends, to the wide receivers, to the slot guy, didn't matter. And so the next day I come out to practice and there's Fred Bruni, mad as hell. And he's got his DBs, and he's throwing the ball. He's throwing all his back shoulders. Sims, we're going to get you today. And I go, hey, okay. I mean, he didn't say it being funny. He was pissed. And, so I always say that. And, I'm not picking up for me or our team. Ron Earhart, Bill Parcells, man, they design really good pass plays. But that seems and all those things in the back shoulder was really the core to our offense as far as the pass game. Of course, Joe Morris, our good O-line, OJ, we had OJ out there. My God, we had Lee Roussan, Joe Morris. I mean, we had a plethora of running backs too, which turned out pretty well.
Absolutely. And I remember that name being mentioned to me from Lamar Leachman. Lamar coached me when I was with the Lions, and he would bring his name up all the time. And he goes, I never met a more pissed off coordinator than I met with Fred. Always pissed off at the offense of the Giants. And he goes, we used to get back and forth, just going there and barking at one another. So yeah, I was coached by Lamar a little bit there.
So Lamar, hey, what you doing, baby? Come on, baby. Right? What are you doing?
Sileo, bad feet. Here, he put these little things down for you to do pass rushing steps. They were crazy. So I learned so much from him there. Phil, tell me this. The Eagles now are going to go into now they're going to be the hunted. What's the difference fighting for a championship and playing as the defending champion? What's the difference in your mentality? I'm watching these guys. They're at the White House. They're going to Met Gala. They're hanging out down in Wildwood. They're all down at the beach during the holidays. Everybody's like doing great things right now. What's the difference in mentality as you come off winning a title and having that moniker and that bullseye on your chest?
Well, it's as every team in the NFL looks at the schedule, and for all the teams that play the Eagles, they go, oh, we got them here. You're already thinking about it. Super Bowl champions, we think we're pretty good. Let's see, when we play them, we'll show them we're right to equal with them, those kind of things. And no matter what, it's just human nature to fall into the trap a little, even in today's world where these guys have so much money and, they don't have to go out and hustle during the offseason to make money. Man, hell, if they go work out at the facility at the team, oh, well, here's $1,000 for showing up for today. We'll give you a couple thousand tomorrow if you want to come. And some of them have workout, parts of their salary. If you work out, make so many workouts during the offseason, we give you $500,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we were collecting a smooth, like $85 a day.
A smoothie.
Yeah. Yes. but so it's just human nature to not to let down. But I think early in the year is when you see that it's just going to be a little bit different. And then you really, after a few games, you get right back into that mode. Okay, we got to go. And it's going to take our best to squeak out some wins and things like that. And I look at the Eagles. I saw somebody on TV today say, well, they've really been picked apart. They lost like us. Yeah, they lost some key guys. But damn, they got a lot of players. I mean, like real.
Yeah.
Their offensive line, I know we probably talked since I've kind of tuned football out a little here the last few weeks. I'm just like exhausted. The draft is exhausting. But, shoot, what was I going to even talk about? I kind of forgot.
Offensive line. Phil, it's insane how many great players they have.
That's exactly. It's, to me, it might be the greatest offensive line we've ever seen. Yep. Let me say it again. Ever. What is close to that, or maybe a little bit better, but they're very close, was the Dallas Cowboys during that run. And, I say this every year. When the playoffs come, look at who's in the playoffs. And almost every one of them is going to be the offensive lines that put them there. They're in that group. We've had one really, really awful offensive line that made it to the Super Bowl, almost won it, and that was the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
That line was horrendous. And they still got it done because Joe Burrow and the receivers, everything else, whatever. They had the magic act going, and the kicker too. So that's the only really bad one I've seen make the playoffs and have success in the last many, many years.
Phil, you mentioned Joe Burrow. I'm going to throw this in and sneak this one in on you here because I had Bruce Arians on, and I asked him, he goes, what do you make of him? He goes, he's a real deal. He thinks he's a better pocket passer than Patrick Mahomes.
He is. I agree with that 100%. I don't even think about it. Of course he is. He's I remember watching him his junior tape that summer. And I actually, after I watched his games down the shoe, I called his dad and said, man, I'd really like to work with Joe. He goes, oh yeah, he's got a week off during the season and maybe we'll all get together and or talk on the phone. And it was the following week he played Texas. If you remember that game in Texas.
Yeah.
He was spectacular and did all that stuff. And I went, okay, that's over. Now he's going to he's going to go to some big agency and all that. But, just to go into this a little, his junior year at LSU, everybody go, oh, well, it wasn't that good. But the design of the offense and what they were doing was awful. But just watching him, I said, man, I remember just going, I really like this guy. And, of course, he went in the NFL, had an outstanding rookie year. He gets hurt. But the following year, the one thing I did notice, and I always say this, and you played, so you kind of know this. After that rookie year as a quarterback, you should be and expected to be a better decision maker, but most of all, a better thrower of the football. And his throwing from year one to year two was dramatic. And I'll never forget the championship game. They're out there in Kansas City. And I'm standing behind him. I got in the field with some of the coaches, and he's throwing. I said, man, he is totally different from last year. And every one of them just goes, yeah, he's got more steam on the ball. He's powering the ball, this. And I go, yeah, I can see it. It was really impressive. So I think that about quarterbacks all the time. You really should learn a tremendous amount about just throwing the ball your rookie year in the NFL.
Thanks, Phil. You take me so many great places here. And, I have a privilege of talking to Coach Jimmy Johnson because Belichick goes down to the Keys down in Isle Morada and they have conversations. And I asked Coach to ask him, when Tom Brady and you were developing his eye for the game, and this will go to Jaden Daniels here in a second, what did you do to develop Tom Brady? Belichick said, well, we would play war games. I would have a tablet. He would have a tablet. And I would constantly drill him with this, Phil. What are you doing? -30, 2-eye safety. I'm bringing some pressure from the left. What are you doing? And he goes, where's your landmark? And they were teaching pre-snap reads and pre-snap landmarks on where he was going. So my question to you was, as you go into your second year like Jaden Daniels, is it more about on the field reps, throwing in practice and OTAs, or is it more about elevating your game off the chalkboard and being able to understand where your landmarks are, pre-snap reads? Because in the pros, you got to know where to throw the ball. In college, they tell you where to throw the ball. So, is that the big thing from year 1 to 2?
Well, everything you said, I would say yes, almost everything about that. 1, physically get better, but 2, understanding the game even more and making decisions that are not only clearer, but quicker to give you a better chance to have success on the field. And, I'll never forget this. About mid-season, maybe a little past it, Tom Brady's rookie year, Charlie Weiss was up there coaching, and I don't know, just randomly he goes, hey, Sims, this Brady, he can really throw the ball. And I'm going, Charlie, I know. Damn, what are you looking at me kind of talking down to me or whatever? But I was like, I got it. But, if you remember, what was he doing after practice? They were taking everybody they could to another field and practicing with him being the guy. Coaches are out there rushing the passer, just trying to give him looks. And so the point being, Tom Brady was already kind of on top of it. And they saw all these things in him, and they pushed it forward as fast as they could. And, I don't know, Drew Bledsoe, if he doesn't get hurt, Hey, maybe he takes them on to the playoffs and they win, and Brady sits there for another year. Who knows? But when his time came, Tom Brady is a second-year guy. He stood up, made really good decisions, and too, they were a really good team. And I always like the Belichick. Is it Belichick or Brady? Well, let's see. We had Mike Vrabel, Willie McGinnis, Will Fork. Oh, we had Rodney. Oh, yeah. We none of those guys were any good. It was just Belichick and Brady.
Seau and Rodney Harris.
Come on.
Yeah, just do.
Richard Seymour, a very good offensive line, 2 big-time 3 running backs, slot receivers, nobody else, whatever. Yeah, but so saying all that, though, yeah, Jaden Daniels will be, in the sense of NFL talk or coaches of the team, will be a better quarterback this year. Doesn't mean he's going to have better statistics. This will be a year. This is like, here's Vince last year. Now we're going to really add to it and really put the second layer to all these plays in and more of that. So he's going to play well. Hey, Dan, when you are tall, you can really run, and you have NFL speed, almost like a slot receiver. He's about as fast as some of the receivers he throws to.
Absolutely.
But he's not going to fall apart. I mean, is he Mr. Smooth and Mr. just calm? I mean, he never gets rattled. He never got rattled at LSU. Hell, he never got rattled out at Arizona State.
Right.
And he won't with the Washington Commanders either.
I want to ask you a question about my boy down in Miami, Cam Ward. Phil, I watched a guy get a beating back in the day. His first 2 years, and my uncle, I think, was the GM of the team, and I just watched this guy get his ass kicked. And his name was Phil Simms. And, there wasn't a lot of good talent on the team yet. And you had to take a beating, kind of the same way Aikman did. Troy wears that extra chin strap because the 1-15 year, he got annihilated because we weren't very good. How much does that play on a quarterback when whatever you're doing right now, how do you keep your composure, and how do you know that things are going to get better? Because, you're so used to winning, Phil, and all of a sudden you're getting beat on like that. How much of a toll do you think that that's really the crossroads that a lot of these young quarterbacks go through? Because if you're picked one, you're not going to a good place. Okay.
Well, yeah, now it's just a different world. And, I can't even compare what Troy Aikman, who came after me, but what we were dealing with our rookie year and second year with really bad teams. I mean, I got a Randy White autograph right here, he hits me and blood's just everywhere. I'm laying on the ground. I'm like, oh my God. And he goes,
no, wait a minute, Phil, that hit or the Gastineau hit? Which one was worse?
Well, Gastineau's was worse because I knew it was coming. I had to yes. But when Randy White hit me, I'm moaning. And I don't know what I said. He goes, shut up, you baby. But it's just what it is. When Troy or when I came in the league, stand in there. God dang, don't, as Parcells would say, don't have Sims, when you get cabin fever, it's over. I mean, if you get a little anxious in the pocket, stand in there and make the throw. And that's what you do. That's what you're taught your whole life. It's maybe my last year, all of a sudden I was like, I'm not going to take these hits. It worked out pretty good too. I was like, damn, why did I do this my whole career? But hey, it's Terry Bradshaw always had, listen, nobody had it rougher than he did early in his career and everything. But I'll never forget, he did the pregame. We went to our first Super Bowl out in Pasadena, and my name came up. And he goes, well, he said some very nice things about me. Listen, he's already been to hell. He's ready to go to heaven. And he says that about quarterbacks. You got to go to hell before you can go to heaven. And I understand what he means, and you know what he means. And it really, from 90% of all quarterbacks, that is the truth.
Absolutely. Phil the tush push, which I hate, Philly shove, whatever you want to call it. What side of the aisle were you on this thing here? Was it a football play? Is it a football play? Do you not like it? Do you like it? I mean, or do you not care? I mean,
I don't care as much as a lot of people do. Listen, let's be honest. You know what I should do? I sometimes get bored and I do some dumbass things, but I should get a reel of all the tush pushes, what they had this year, and see how many times did they really need anybody to touch the quarterback. Because they might have pushed him a few times, but usually he's falling and he's getting 2 to 3 yards. And so now it's a quarterback sneak. We're going to outrule that.
No.
So, yeah, I think we said it. You said it earlier. The O-line they had, man, they had some road graders, man. And they get a Hall of Fame center retire. Let's just keep on going, because the guy we got behind him, we've been training his ass to do this and other things. And he played really well for Philadelphia too.
He did. I mean, I actually thought he elevated because, Kelsey was at the end of his career, and this guy brought, 2005 rushing yards. By the way, Phil, I said this, look, I got my Robustelli jersey behind me here. I know the organization. Yeah. And listen, Wellington Mayor, I set up cones at the Yale Bowl when I was a kid. Okay, so all of that. As a Giant yourself, you're watching Barkley. Am I right when I say this? I got ripped on CNN. They had me on CNN. And I said that guy's not going to make any impact. He never lived up to the second round or second pick in the draft. I just never saw it. Was it more that the Giants didn't build a team around him, build an O-line around him? Because, Phil, he looks like Barry Sanders. Every time he touched the ball, I thought he was going to hit his head on the goalpost.
Yeah. No.
Was it more the Giants failing to build a team around him? Because, those 5 years were okay, but not like last year.
Hey, look, the Giants tried. And as we know, as you look, they just struck out with so many draft picks. And, of course, now the offensive line is not what you really want it to be. Now you take unnecessary hits, even as a running back. And, I would think running backs, there's a lot to it. But, man, you got to just be lucky as hell not to get up here and there. And now all of a sudden we put, as you and I have already said, maybe one of the greatest offensive lines in history. And we got a guy back there who can literally jump over defenders, forwards, backwards, his speed, his ability to cut. Everything. So for Saquon, it all came together, and good for him. I ran it. He lives up, or did. I don't know if he still is up in this area where I live in New Jersey. And I would run into him every once in a while. And even down at the complex, I'd say, man, Saquon, I'm telling you, I'm just like, just hang in there. Because, man, if this works, shoot, you're set for life. Yeah. That's it. Because he was so loved by the fan base. And no matter if it didn't go well for him or not, just the Giant fans, and they loved him. So if he'd had success up here, it would have just been incredible. Now, he's from that area down in Philadelphia, so I would think life's going to be pretty good down there for the rest of his life too, for what he did. But this, ready? The Eagles, at a facility I go down and work out at, used to own it, sold it to a guy, whatever, and I look across down on a little turf field, and I see this massive human being. I go, wait, is that Mekhi Becton? I said, look at him. Holy Christ. I just was like, wow. And then the Jets, of course, didn't want to re-sign him. And then I heard he was going to go to Philadelphia. I said, oh my gosh, he's going to be an all-pro. He was in unbelievable shape this year. Football shape, whatever you want to say. And the same thing. He put it all together. And maybe it took the move to Philadelphia. I know the O-line coach is great, but damn, he was ready to go, Dan. And, man, what a year he had. That's for sure. It was really, really, really good.
Well, Philadelphia can thank New York for winning the Super Bowl between Becton and Barkley. I don't know what else to say. You had those guys.
That's a good one. When the Super Bowl week, I listen to a lot of stuff like you do, and you're always on talking about it. But Mekhi Becton's name didn't come up that much. Like, hey, they got two guys from the New York area that were high first-round draft picks. Absolutely. And life came together for him there. So,
hey, Phil, you got time for a couple more?
Sure.
Okay. Howie Roseman, the manipulating of the cap, the drafting, like you said. Now watch this. Listen to this from last year, Phil. They got a guy from the Saints, Zach Bond.
Yeah.
They had him outside when they first brought him into camp. They looked at him and they went, I don't know, man. Let's try him inside. They move him inside. It's a first team All-Pro. You're like, okay, well, all right. That happens every now and then. Not first team All-Pro, but that happens. The guy plays well. Becton's going back and forth, and all of a sudden they go, he doesn't really have the feet to play tackle. Let's put him at guard. What do you think?
Yeah.
I plays Pro Bowl guard. And you're going like, hang on here. Okay, that doesn't happen in the real world of the NFL where you're just finding dudes on 50, like the 50th guy or the 49th guy on a roster. You bring him in. He's first team All-Pro. Barkley, he's coming off, he had kind of banged up last year. He had 900 yards. He's been injured 2 of the last 4 years. Is he going to be that guy? Goes for $2,000. You're like, wait a minute. Okay. Then the drafting. You tell me, Howie Roseman, is he the best GM in football right now?
He's on fire. And, there's a couple of things. Zach Bond, let's say, I liked him down in New Orleans, but you took a guy that had okay speed there, but you put him inside and all of a sudden he's got really good speed. Oh, it's a whole different world. Now we got guys protecting me and I can run. And, of course, his football IQ is off the charts. There is a special quality a lot of these guys have. They can read plays and they can read quarterbacks. And he just happens to be, Philadelphia, unfortunately, being a Giant fan that I am, they got a lot of those guys. But but Howie Roseman, when you have success, it emboldens you even more.
Huh.
And now you really trust your thought. And I think it all started with when they traded for A.J. Brown. That changed their football team. Now we got a guy over here that is a monster. And he can, one-on-one, we can dominate that. And then it just started trickling down to everything. And, of course, the draft picks it was almost hilarious. Will somebody take the Georgia players instead of the Eagles? My God. You see all these guys on their team, Dan, and you just go, well, hell, why didn't Georgia win they should have won more national championships with what they had out there.
All right. Azeez Ojulari, is he going to be another one of those guys now? The Eagles signed this guy. I mean, is he a player? What is he? I mean, tell me who he is, because I look at him, I'm like, anytime you move off a guy, and by the way, his numbers aren't horrible. He looks like maybe he was used situationally, but what do you make of him?
Well, I like him. I did. I liked him all year and everything, just watching him, and I just thought he was a really good part of the team. And, it gave him depth, all that stuff. But he's going to a team that's just going to give him, now it's my turn. Got to let it go. It's not like, all right, I got to pace myself. That's out the window. It's just I don't know what to say. I have a saying. I don't want to say it here, but it's all out. As soon as you go in the game, let it go, because there's another guy behind you.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to rotate these guys in and out. So Azeez Ojulari, I've always liked him ever since he's come in the league. And I think he's going to be this could be his best year of his career coming forward.
All right, I sent a text message to LT, and I go, so what's up with you and Sims? This kid, Abdul Carter, I mean, I don't know what's up. And he goes like this. He goes, hey, let the youngster go out there and carve his own number out, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and I said this, and I tell people this. When you got a number with the Giants, it ain't like a number. No disrespect to Tennessee. Okay. I mean, it's a different world. It's like Yankee stuff. I mean, number 7, number 5, what's up, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that's in 56. Yes.
And so I go, then I heard, hey, did you hear? And LT goes, well, Sims ain't doing it either. And I go, wait a minute. So you two guys told Abdul Carter, hey, son, go out and carve your old deal. So he's wearing 51. I like the number. It's a bunch.
Yeah, I like what he did there. That was clever. But, I didn't say you can't. I actually was like, if he wants to do it, I'm kind of honored. I'm not that way, like, oh, don't touch my jersey. Okay, if he had a great career and he's wearing 11, so there'll be 2 11 jerseys up there hung up. And, so I kind of said that to Drew Rosenhaus And I guess I was doing an interview and I said, yeah, man, I can't believe he mentioned my name, but maybe I can relive those days when I was an outside linebacker in high school. I'll be like him. And so I was, just kind of off the cuff and just kind of talking. I didn't know it was going to turn into big news. And, my wife was like, whatever you think. My oldest son, Christopher, was like, I think it'll be cool. And so we all had that kind of going. But my daughter and my daughter-in-law, who's very quiet, man, and then I did not get one text that said to do it.
Oh, no, I would not. I did not want you to do it either. I should have texted you. I should have texted you and told you, no way, do it. I never, ever want to see those numbers. 56, 11, 81. I don't want to ever see that stuff out there because, again, you got to understand, back in the day, those Giants tickets were willed to people.
Yeah,
they were willed. I mean, you just didn't show up to the Giant game and you got a free ticket. Man, you carved your name out with those things. Charlie Connolly, all them guys.
Yeah. Well, I listen, now that it's done and over, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm kind of glad now that it never did happen. And, but I think the Giants are having whatever. I talked to Joe Shane and he goes, hey man, it's whatever you want to do. And, it's like, gosh, okay. I didn't, whatever, but it worked out and I'm glad. I think the fact that he changed his number to 51, that was a really good decision he made, not because that one I think represents me, but it just really puts a mark on who he is, what he thinks. And, I don't know. I just sometimes, and this too, guys, even when I was in it, guys would come in the league and they wouldn't even know the divisions of what the NFL was about. They didn't know it was East, West, North, and South. Like, really? Who do we play in our division? Oh my God, you don't know this? So now you get Abdul Carter, who's kind of a historian about all this stuff. That makes me feel really good. I really admire that and like that. And I wish more players were like that, rookies coming in the league. But
well, just to show you how old Phil and I are, St. Louis Cardinals used to be, or the Arizona Cardinals used to be in the East. I got a last one here for you, Phil. Help me out on this with Jalen with Jalen Hurts. The passing game was 30th. Okay. I mean, they threw the ball 361 times. This was like 1986.
Good.
Football, okay. They ran power football. They ran the ball. And the NFC title game and the Super Bowl, he was sensational. Phil, in your opinion, I mean, to evolve that offense, especially with defensive guys, like you said, they got a lot of new guys. They got a lot of good guys over there. They're going to probably have to let that defense mature like an apple on a tree here a little bit. But in your opinion, what is Jalen Hurts to you?
Well, I'll say this. I've followed his whole career, of course, at Alabama, with that, Oklahoma coming in the league. I was surprised he was drafted in the second round. I thought he would go later. I was looking at him like a fourth rounder just because I didn't think his throwing was NFL caliber. And it probably wasn't early in his career. But he's gotten better every single year throwing the ball. I mean, it spins more, has a little more power. And, of course, the run game. But also this. He's on a good team, but they understand who he is too. Jalen's not going to be Jaden Daniels. He's not going to be Joe Burrow. He's not going to be Josh Allen. They made the offense, and I mean this as a compliment, simple. And I knew when I would watch them get ready, people always want to talk about them. I'd watch a couple games ago. God damn, they run the same stuff every game.
It's so predictable.
But they throw more passes. I'm not sure if this is true or not. Championship game and Super Bowl, there were basically no throws over the middle. And why is that? Because they got outstanding wide receivers that make you a little afraid. But when you're a quarterback, there's a lot less people outside those hashes than there is in the middle. And so the percentages are just the factor of not having turnovers and making a bad throw. Now they go way down. And it's easy to see. And, man, he made a lot of easy throws to the outside. So I give Kellen Moore and the whole organization great credit. And then now they got that. They got the tush push. And then we got a quarterback. If you make him, he's going to see a lane and he's off and he's going to get first down. So it's well orchestrated, well thought out, and it's going to be a pain in the rear end for everybody they play this year, because that offense is just going to kind of, to me, get a little more flavor to it and still have all the same things that I've just talked about. But it's going to be, I think it's going to be better this year than it was last year for sure.
Wow. I mean, because Phil, I look at that offense and I go, I mean, the Y and the Z, they don't throw it in the middle. The tight end gets pissed off because they don't throw enough. The third wide receiver, they had 30 catches the entire year for all three of the three guys. They may even go to a fullback this year and take that third wide out off the field like they did in Baltimore last year to help Lamar's passing game. But I mean, Phil, so it's the players in the system, because that system's too basic. I mean, like you said, their O-line, it's so great. And I agree. Steeler line, the Cowboy line, and this line are the greatest offensive lines I've ever seen. Okay. I mean, those are the three best lines, and it's because of Stoutland, but it's the evaluating of the players that they bring in. But Phil, can coming back this year, can you evolve that? I mean, don't you want to be higher than third? I mean, they haven't lived up to their ability, I don't think. And yet they won a Super Bowl doing that.
Dan, no, you don't want to. I don't care they finished 30th. In fact, that makes me feel even better. That just shows me how they were always in control of the game and dominating. And again, it was beautiful at times during the year, especially late. Now, they started out bad last year, and I think they had a little meeting at 2-2 and said, we got to figure this out. And no matter what you do, even though it's basic, you still have two super guys at wide receiver. So that right away eliminates a lot what the defense can do. So the defense, every time those guys come up there and line up, they go, okay, let me back up just a couple more steps because I don't want to get beat deep, those kind of things. And it's one-on-one. It's so easy for the quarterback to read. Oh, my God, I can see it right now. Let's see. A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith. A.J. Brown's complaining he's more. So they put him in the slot and he runs a 5-yard out. They throw it to him. He gets 10. It's like, we haven't thrown to A.J. for a few series. Let's make sure we get him 2 or 3 this drive. And they actually can do that. They can do it. Or they have the other route where they have the unders. I call them unders. I know they're every play. And when they run let's say they have 10 basic plays for their offense. They work every single game. And when I watch the tape of the games, I go, oh my God, I'm sitting here knowing what's coming. Now, if I was out there in the field, I'd probably be scared to death and wouldn't know anything. But it's just, when you have great talent, don't fool with it too much, Huh. And I love what they did last year. Nick Sirianni, the best thing that happened to him, what was when he turned around and yelled at the fans, or when he had a little dust up, and it settled him down. He just went, okay, I just got to be the coach. And I thought he did a tremendous job from the middle of the season on, leading the team, handling himself the right way on the sideline, press conferences and all those things. And he's just, listen, here you are. And the game is about the big guys. Okay, we keep talking about the damn quarterback and the runners and all this. It's about the O-line. And every team in the league is all this offseason trying to make their line better. The damn Giants, free agents, sign him, draft him. We got, the Jets, Aaron Glenn comes in. You know what the hell he's looking for?
Oh, yeah.
So, and by the way, I think the Jets are I'm not going to get into the Giants. I think the Jets are going to be a very surprising team.
You think Justin Fields landed in the right spot?
Yeah, I do. I think, yes, because I think Aaron Glenn and the offensive coordinator, I think they're going to handle him in a different way. And now he knows they want him. There's something to it. There's got to be a confidence in the fact that they're not going to bench him if things don't go well. They're going to play him, and they're going to play through some rough times. They're not going to win the Super Bowl this year, but I think this will be Justin Fields' best year of his career with Aaron Glenn and the talent. I'm just telling you, the Jets got some players when you look at that roster.
Well, let me sneak this in because they just signed and hired Joe Douglas back to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Right.
I mean, I always thought that he did a nice job at tooling that roster. However, the position of quarterback is where they blew up again. I mean, I don't know if that's the owner and his decision-making or what happened. Why did Joe Douglas not make it as the GM, in your opinion, in New York with the Jets?
Well, listen, I think the drafting and the acquiring players, I really thought they did a great job with it. But I don't think I just don't think when I think of the Jets and Robert Saleh, who is a tremendous guy and all that, but they lack the overall grit and toughness that you must have as a football team. And, it's just about being mean and, excuse the phrase, but pissed off. That's just the best thing. And when you get those group of guys, by God, they don't worry about the game. Hey, it's going to be rough today. It's going to be great. You know what I mean? And I never saw that with the Jets. I didn't see emotion ever on the sideline. I didn't see coaches, sooner or later, when things aren't going well, coach's got to do something to light a fire.
Yeah, got to be a problem solver.
Yeah. And you got, sometimes when the coach walks in the room, I always say this, when you got a good head coach, when Bill Parcells would walk in the room like, oh, what's it going to be now? And no, I'm serious. It was never, hey, good job, fellas. Love you. You guys really played hard. Somebody said we played hard one game and, it was in the papers, and he comes in, he goes, do I have to give you guys credit for playing hard? Can I take that for granted? And it's a great line. Dan Reeves, the first day that he was coach of the Giants in 1993, all of us are sitting in a room waiting for him to show up. He comes walking in, he puts his notepad down. He looks up and he goes, sit up straight, put your damn feet on the floor and take those hats off. I mean, and he said it with anger. And I came home, I got out of my car in front of my house, and my wife was there, and she goes, well, I said, we're going to win.
Huh.
I'm not exaggerating. I said, we're going to win.
I love that because I tell you what Coach Johnson, to what Parcells did. So he walked in the room and he was reading to me and Jerome and all this. We were playing. So he goes, you guys played like toughness, And Jimmy walked in and he goes, you guys like being congratulated for not robbing a bank, huh? And I'm like, what's that mean? And he goes, things, you played tough. It's football. I mean, hey, congratulations. You didn't rob the bank.
Oh, that's pretty good.
We all looked at one another and went, what is that supposed to imply?
Oh,
those
funny.
legendary blow-ups with you and Parcells.
There wasn't that many, but, it's not often.
What aggravated you the most about him when you would walk off the field? Because that one was epic, where you just looked back at him and he goes, come on, Sams. And you looked at him and went, what? And to me, that's one of the greatest. And I think that made you guys. Because
I'm not proud of it, but it was our relationship. And really, that's kind of what I think, what's the word for it? Where we were together. I mean, He was very tough on me, but that's okay. But he knew he could speak to the team a lot through me too. There would be days I'd be in practice and I could tell stories about Bill for an hour. But he's just yelling at me, and I'm not even up there now. I'm standing back next to him watching a few plays. And Sam's, he's going on. And I just turned to him. I go, will you shut up? All you do is just bitch and moan about everything. No, and I really do it. And he goes, oh, Sam's, do you want to hit me? Oh, is that what it is? And I go, and I just went, there's something wrong with you. But here, that's the last thing I'll just say about all that. When we did get in an argument on a Monday Night Football game, we were 9-0 at the time. And and the ball was tipped and hit Maurice Carthon in the back shoulder instead of perfect, because Maurice isn't going to be able to adjust to anything. You got to hit it perfect. And I say to him, he goes, come on, you got to hit that. We're up 20-0 too at Indianapolis. And I said, yeah, no, I know the D lineman tipped it. He goes, hey, don't be making excuses. I go, I'm not making no damn excuse. He can tip the damn ball, whatever. And that's what started the argument. So getting on the plane, him and I, when the game is over, Parcells go, they might make a big thing of this, Sims, but, I said, yeah, I'm ready, whatever, it's cool. As we're standing in line, getting, going up the steps to get on the airplane. I can't tell you how many guys came up and put their arm around me and go, "You're the man." They go, "You're the man." And I go, "Oh," one of them goes, well, I had, especially the offensive linemen, they go, "What did it feel like?" "Oh my God, I love the build. Did it feel great?"
They were living through you.
Yes. I'd love to do that to him just one time.
Yeah, Phil, this has been awesome, man. I absolutely love this, man. All the time you spent with me. Brother, thank you so much. Still doing work in New York, I'm assuming, with FAA.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm right now, when I get done here, I'm going to go over to, I got a field very close to my house. I walk to it, and I got a couple quarterbacks over there, so I'm going to go over and crush them.
Killer.
Yeah. So, yeah, I throw with a lot of quarterbacks during the offseason. My son does it too, my youngest son, Matt. And, I love doing it. And I'll just say this. I'm never going to worry about quarterback talent going into the NFL. It's at an all-time high at every level.
Is it because of these camps like you and Manning and all these guys that are so prepared, 7-on-7s and all that? Those
it's more just training and just throwing and just – I mean, I'm not going to exaggerate. There's a couple kids that are going to be 8th graders over there, and if I just could cover them up and you saw the ball, you go, "So what is he, a junior in college?" Wow. No, he's an 8th grader. That's not exaggerate. The quarterback position is the most wanted thing now. Everybody wants to be one. And here in North Jersey, there's a lot of Catholic schools, and they're all good. I mean, every one of them has a quarterback. Yeah. So it's
Phil, thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate it. Have a fun time today. We'll catch up again. Thank you, Phil.
All right, Dan. Thank you, bud.
You bet. That is the great Phil Simms spending so much time with us. God, that was fantastic. Holy cow, I heard it. Ugh, Jesus, Grammy, Nick Sirianni. And oh my God, these guests I get on, they never, ever agree with Big Sills. Oh, God, I'm getting tired of this. Well, we'll have Battle Royale, okay? Learned so much about football and schemes because of you. Thank you. Kimberly, thank you. I think it's because of the people also that we bring on the program, and we talk ball. You know what's crazy? You want to hear something today? So earlier this morning, I talked to Tony Dungy. Today, I talked to Phil Simms. Having a pretty good football day. Yeah. Again, get this. Sills loves and hates his guest. Yeah. Look at this, Forrest, here. These quotes are going to kill me for the next hour. 30th passing, so what? Oh, my God. Okay? Get it. Well, listen to this. Love having guests having a total opposite take. What makes the show. Chris, you got it. That's exactly correct. And I do that by design. I have people all the time. I don't want you to always agree with me. And just like you guys. Okay? Just like you guys. You don't agree with me every day. Well, you'll probably agree with me one day of the week. Okay? Guys, do me a favor. Our great friends at Morgan & Morgan. Absolutely fantastic to have them part of the program here. With over $30 billion recovered, the number one injury law firm in America is without a question. Morgan & Morgan. Told you about the family in Pennsylvania that got $30 million. An insurance company wanted to give them an initial offer of $650K. No way. Not happening. Thousands of attorneys from coast to coast. See what's going on in California with families getting reparations back when it comes to their homes being lost because there were no insurance. Morgan & Morgan is going out to California and getting those folks the money that they so deserve, and they could do that for you if you're ever injured. Do me a favor. Check them out at forthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. That's forthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. And do me a favor. You tell them Big Sills sent you.
This is Eric,